otherworldlyculture.com.
They're here.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
otherworldlyculture.com presents Dead On Movie Reviews.
Salutations and mutilations, you're listening to Otherworldly Culture presents Dead On Movie Reviews. Tonight, we will present horror movie reviews and lively debate here on otherworldlyculture.com and on future select Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Is that right? Eastern Standard? No, it's going to be 8 in the future. Okay, good thing I read this before we went on the air. 8 o'clock Eastern, because we're getting everything to 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. And then we're also on in Mountain and Pacific time, but who can do the math? You can join our live chat at that time by clicking on the live shows link at otherworldlyculture.com, the website. I'm your host, Tim Kretschmann, coming to you from the land of lakes and landfills, beautiful and smelly Muskego, Wisconsin. And it's my honor to introduce the Faculty of Fear for tonight's program. And all of the buttons on my machine are not working tonight. That's great. I love when I test things and then they don't work. It's awesome. All right, we're going to start right down there. Hailing from the Motor City, Detroit, it's Michael Cieslak. He is a lifetime reader and writer of horror, mystery, and speculative fiction. He has served as an officer in the Great Lakes Association of Horror Writers as the editor of the Eerie Tales anthologies. Michael is the editor-in-chief of Dragon's Roost Press, and his works have appeared in a number of collections, including DOA Extreme Horror, Dead Science, Vicious Verses and Reanimated Rhymes, and the collaborative steampunk novel Army of Brass. Check him out at thedragonsroost.net. Good evening, Michael.
Good evening.
You know, I have to say, the first time I read through the biography, you remember the one that was about 30 minutes long?
One that was even longer than that one?
Yeah. I remember reading Dragon's Roost without my glasses the first time, and I thought it said Dragon's Roast. And to this day, I'm not sure if that wouldn't be better. You know, no, Dragon's Roast.
The name of the coffee shop that we're going to open someday.
Oh, that's awesome. That is perfect. All right. Oh, somebody go trademark that immediately. Okay. And Peggy Christie is an author from Michigan that has written books like Hell Hath No Fury, Dark Doorways, and contributed to short story collections Eerie Tales, Myths, and Mayhem. She is also proud to be the owner of the lamest scream ever recorded on Scream at the Screen. You can check her out at themonkeyisin.com. Hello, Peggy.
Hello.
All right, everybody. Keep your ass in your seat, sharpen your pencil. Let's get unruly. It's the Faculty of Fear. It's been a while. This is our first show back since the Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's break. So happy holidays, all of you. Hope you had a great time. But now it's back to business. We got horror movies to review. So we are going to start, I think we're going to start with Michael over there. Michael, what have you been watching?
I have been watching something that required the most research of any film that I've done so far.
Really?
And that's simply because I had to look up how to pronounce everything associated with this movie. So I am a apologizing ahead of time if I mess any of these up.
There it goes. Sorry about that. This button is really bad.
It's like, oh God, I've got to do Halloween Kills. I haven't seen that one yet.
What? What? Wait a minute. All right, go ahead. What are we watching here? There we go.
I watched Chori.
Chori?
I was contacted in late November of last year
Okay.
by the Sterling Global Press Office.
All right.
I do not know who they are, but shout out to them. They sent me an email. I'm not really sure how they found me. It could have been through the website. It might have been through LinkedIn, but it had some information about this film, and it had some teaser photos. And I went, looks kind of scary. A couple of weeks later, they sent a link to the trailer, and I said, yeah, when that comes on Amazon, I'll give it a try.
Wow.
So this is an Indian film. It is a remake of another film that was called La Puchapi.
Oh,
Which
yeah,
was-
yeah. I have
Yeah,
no
you know
idea
that
what
one.
No.
Of course, right?
No. Where is that one from? Is that also from India or?
That one is also, it was originally in Marathi, so I'm not exactly sure where on the subcontinent that
Isn't that a type of
Len-
car? It's like a sports car, right? He's driving a Marathi.
The original name, the original film name translates to hide and seek. Chori just translates to girl. So now you have two clues as to what this movie's about, and that's all I'm going to tell you. No, just kidding. This is Amazon Prime and Crypt TV combined production.
Yeah, it's actually free on Prime, I saw.
Yes, it is. It is free on Prime right now, and it is well worth it.
Okay. Is that
So I'm gonna preface
now
this
that can
by
be
saying-
taken as a compliment or a rip? So I think we need more information.
I'm going to preface this by saying this film is probably not going to be for everyone. It is a bit on the longer side. It clocks in a little over 2 hours, but it didn't feel like a 2-hour movie to me. Having said that, due to my work schedule, I was not able to sit down and watch it all the way through. So I did break it up because I'm like, oh crap, I have to go to work now. So I don't think it feels like a 2-hour movie if you sat down and watched it lip to label.
Okay.
It is also filmed in Hindi with English subtitles. So if subtitles aren't your thing, you might have a little bit of iffiness on this one. I didn't find them at all distraction. I don't mind subtitles. And then I've seen some reviews that complain the film was ruined by the addition of a message, which was not present in the original. Honestly, the one thing that did annoy me was that I am not used to movies that have a whole slew of credits in the beginning. This is like a really old, like 30s, 40s movies where they show you all of the credits in the beginning. So, hey, it's on Prime. It's got a fast forward button. It's not a problem. Skip through it. No big deal. That was the only part that felt long to me was the opening credits. Chori reaches out and it grabs you from the very first scene. It opens up in kind of a maze almost. There are these paths that are through a sugarcane field, and there is this very pregnant woman who is running, and there is something that I got her absolutely terrified that she is running from, and we don't see what it is. She comes into a clearing, kind of stumbles, falls, and you hear children's kind of creepy laughter, almost echoey, ghostly laughter. Hand extends from off screen holding kind of a dagger-sized knife, which she takes and then kind of fights her own hand as it goes towards her pregnant belly, and she's trying to fight this knife off, and that's when the movie opens, and you get the final credit splash, and I was hooked from that point in. From there, we meet our main character, Sakshi, who I thought was played brilliantly by Nushuat Baracha. I'm going to say these confidently because
That's good because I totally believed it. I totally believed it. Yeah, you could probably make up names as you go, and we'll just think you're an expert in Hindi movie making.
She is just as pregnant as the woman that we saw before. I mean, she is easily 8 months pregnant. She's working with children at an NGO. Shortly thereafter, we meet her husband, Hemnet. We follow them along for the evening. They go home. She wakes up in the middle of the night to find out that some thugs have broken into their house and they are beating the crap out of her husband. Turns out he has made some business deals. He owes some people some money and they want to get paid like right now. So they book it. Their driver, who is this is, by the way, in a very urban setting. They're in the middle of the city. Their driver, who seems a little more countrified, if I could say, make that an adjective, says, you know what, come out. We'll drive you out to my village. It's like 300 kilometers outside of the city. No one will find you. It's completely isolated. You'll be safe there. So they go out there. And it is extremely isolated. They drive to the point where they reach the end of the sugarcane fields that we saw in the opening, and then they've got to walk through all these paths, and you quickly learn how easily it will be to get lost in these fields. And there are some, I'm going to come back to this again and again, but there are some amazing shots where they are walking, and then the camera pans up and you see the field from above, and just the stark isolation of this tiny little like 5-house town in the middle of nothing but sugarcane fields and the maze of pathways that goes through them. We meet the driver's wife, Banu Devi. No bueno. We don't like her. She is creepy right from the jump. And you quickly get the sense that there's going to be some kind of old school versus city people tension here. She is very, very traditional is the word that keeps coming up, to the point where the men eat first and then the women eat what's later, and men go outside and the women stay in and they take care of everything. And at one point she chastises Sakshi for saying her husband's names, and we're not that familiar. We don't use their first names like that. And you get the thing, this is how this movie's going to be. There's going to be this conflict between her kind of new urban modern sensibilities, and is this traditional thing going to come up and bother them?
So have you forgotten about the baby stabbing at this point while you're
not
watching?
Yet.
Okay, because that's still ringing in my ears that they were willing to have a stabbing of a pregnant woman in the opening sequence.
Shortly after that, we start to see little kids that are running around, and at first they're just normal looking kids, and that's like, okay, why are these kids running around in this field? Devi tells Sakshi this really creepy story about a snake that surrounds a tree and eats this bird's eggs the whole time. And you're like, okay, there is something definitely wrong with this lady, and they need to get out right now. The problem is, Hemant, her husband, decides he can go back to the city and try to bargain with the people that he owes the money to, but he wants her to stay there with Devi and where she'll be safe just in case. So now she's alone. She's isolated with this weird, traditional, crazy woman, and she has absolutely no way of getting out back to the city or even possibly getting through the sugarcane fields.
Okay, I do like that you said this weird, traditional, crazy woman, because I'm sitting here and I'm going, that could have been crazy, weird, traditional woman, or traditional,
as
crazy,
opposed to
weird.
One of them newfangled crazy women, you know.
It's kind of funny. Which is modifying what?
Adjectives are hard.
Why don't use them?
We we see exactly how terrible a person Devi is when we see Rami, who turns out to be the woman from the opening who had slit her own belly open and who has a huge scar here. And turns out she was the wife of Devi's son, and she was cast aside because she can no longer have children from this experience that she had in the sugarcane field. And she is treated like just the worst lower class servant. I don't want to go on too much with details because at this point we get like a really sharp turn, and it's not out of left field, but it changes the way the movie is going to be. But I'm going to say I've got a checklist.
Okay.
Scary kids? Check. Sometimes they look normal. Sometimes they look like a Dickensian street urchin had sex with the kid from Ju-on. Burnt ghosts? Check. Scary backstory that we get in little pieces of exposition? Yes. Creepy old lady? Yeah, we've covered that. Double check. Bizarre rituals in the sugarcane field? Yep. Illusions and hauntings? Maybe. Maybe they're really happening. Maybe they're not. Dead babies? Maybe. Maybe not. And then I'm going to come back to what I was saying before with some of the sound is amazing. You get portions where some of the women are wearing different parts of their garments, like bangle bracelets or the anklets that are jingling, and you get that so you know that someone's coming up and the main character's not seeing them, but you can hear them coming, or you can hear the wind through the sugarcane fields. It just makes you feel really claustrophobic at times. There's a scene where Sakshi is trying to map her way through the sugarcane field, and the camera is following the path that she's on. It kind of goes past her into the path, and then it pans up so you can see the field, and then that shot becomes her drawing a line on a map. It's exceptionally well done. There's a twist at the end that going back, I'm like, oh, okay, that totally makes sense. So it's not one of those twists like, where'd that come from? I totally did not see it coming. Oh. The actual ending has another little twist that is extremely satisfying feeling. It does get a little preachy right at the very end, talking about what people are passing off as traditions, but I don't think that took away from the film at all. And I have never heard the phrase, and even though it was in Hindi, I am never going to be able to hear the phrase, "We want to play with your baby girl," without being creeped out again.
Wait, at one point, you weren't creeped out by that phrase? That sounds kind of creepy.
It is a creepy phrase, but it could be, there could be an innocent explanation to it.
Wow. All right. Now, I am going to ask you about the subtitles, because I do know from a few of our other listeners, they do like me to ask about this, and I'll be the unwashed about it. Are they legible at the bottom of the page?
Yes.
And is it in time with their speaking, or is it so fast that you would have to take, what was it, Ethan Wood, who did the speed reading courses back
the speed reading courses?
Yeah.
That was actually one of the things that I really did appreciate, is that they are extremely legible. You don't have that part where like it's black lettering on a black background, and you're like, well, that's totally useless. I can't see that at all. That I think at one point they may actually change the lighting on them, if I remember correctly, because it was a darker scene, so they are a little lighter, and then when they're in the fields, they're a little darker, but you never have a problem reading it. And even though the people are talking very fast, the dialogue matches and was easy to read. I did not have any issues keeping up with anything. The only problem was that I had to keep pausing it to take notes, and that's because I didn't want to look down and miss what they were saying.
Yep.
Wow, that's easily solved. Don't take notes, folks, when you're watching a movie. Watch the movie instead.
You're watching to enjoy it. You're not watching to spread the enjoyment. Right. For you. I did this for you.
That he is suffering for your art. ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
That's the type of dedication we have here on Dead On Movie Reviews. I have to tell you, when it comes to subtitles, one of my worst experiences was Akira Kurosawa's version of Macbeth. I forget what it was called, but he shot in black and white.
Throne of Blood.
Throne of Blood. The version I saw had really thin lettering, so you could hardly read it. And then it was white on a black and white movie. And I'm like, what are you doing? And then in the same box set, I had the Magnificent Seven, Seven Samurai of Akira Kurosawa. Yellow type, big bold letters with a little shadow behind it and everything. I was like, how did this come out from the same company? This makes no sense to me.
And that weird part about that is that was that particular video transfer, because I saw the Throne of Blood theatrically at the Detroit Institute of Arts one year. They did a whole Kurosawa retrospective, and the subtitles on the screen were super easy to read. But then the VHS transfer that I have is just, I think it's that one. It's just, they're like spider thin. There's no drop shadow at all. And it's like, okay, it looks like wheat blowing in the bottom
do we
of the
not
field.
have the technology today? Let's get on this. I honestly, I wish there was a website that would grade subtitles, because there have been times where I've just had to shut it off because I can't follow it anymore. I'm like, this is terrible. Or I don't know if you know about this, since we're talking a lot about foreign films today. I thought I'd bring this up. In fact, let's just get on this screen. But there's a couple of sites where you can actually download alternate subtitles if you want to watch with things. And I've got it working on my system at home, because there's been a couple of times where I said, these subtitles are so bad, I can't watch this anymore. And, I downloaded a 20 kilobyte little thing, and bang, all of a sudden I can watch the movie and it's decent again. So just for those of you that ever have that problem. But now we need to get over to the grading. Let's see if this button is working. Come on, there we go. So, oh God, now I'm going to try pronouncing it. Chiori? Was it Chiori? Chori. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry too. But what was it? Chiori? Chloroform? Chori.
Peggy's just like, oh God, now I have to do something.
You know what? One of these days, I'm going to set up the Peggy eye roll cam. And we'll just have that, because everybody is missing this. I'm watching, and it's like she rolls her eyes more times during the show. I think she thinks you're a little goofy there, Michael.
Her mic picks it up and you can hear it in your headphones. You hear her eyes rolling in their socket.
It's actually, I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, let me try again. Chiori?
Yes.
Okay. What are you grading this film?
I'm going to say an A-. I thought this was a really well done first outing from these. And I, in the process of looking all this stuff up, found out that they are looking into making a sequel.
Really?
So I'm going to keep my eye out for that.
I am going to tell people something extra special about this movie that they may not have thought of. It's extremely easy to find on Amazon Prime, because there are not many CHH movies. When you're searching, it comes right up. I added it to my queue yesterday, and I didn't watch it because I'm like, I'm going to see, first of all, if this movie's worth me.
Make sure
giving it a shot. But it sounds like something I need to check out. Peggy, it's your turn. What have you been watching, Peggy?
Hang on a second. If you're talking, dude, it's cutting out and I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Peggy, what is the movie that you are watching?
Hang on, gotta put my glasses on, and then you can't see my eyes roll as much.
Here we go.
Or it'll be
We'll
magnified.
know. We will know.
The glare.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. I watched the 2007 horror flick from Thailand called Sick Nurses.
Sick Nurses.
I don't know what the actual Thai name for it is. I've never actually seen it.
I looked it up. It's just so you know.
Okay.
You looked it up. You just didn't want to try to pronounce it. You
Yes,
coward.
That's what's going on.
I didn't feel like looking it up. Like I've always known it just as the English title. Anyway, the good thing about this too is it's just over an hour, so it's not a super long commitment. Just so if anyone's interested. Speaking of like reading subtitles, and I know a lot of people don't like to do that, so it's not a super long film. But the basic plot is there is a doctor and a group of sexy nurses, I'm putting that in quotes. What they do is they harvest organs from patients in their hospital, and they sell them on the black market. And it turns out,
hold on. You did the sexy nurse, and of course that's what I'm interested in. So are they actual nurses, or is this a Halloween party?
No, they're actual nurses. I'll get to it.
Oh, okay.
Kind of one of there's like two major points I want you to walk away with from this film, and I'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
But they're doing all this bad stuff. But one of the nurses, actually, she gets angry because she introduces her sister to the whole staff, and her doctor boyfriend goes for the sister. And so this nurse is like, you know what? You can't be with my sister. You're supposed to be with me. I'm going to rat you all out and tell everybody what you're doing. And that's just all there is to it. And they're like, well, we can't have that happen. That'd be a really, really bad idea. So they kill her. And think, okay, kill her, get rid of her, problem solved. But apparently in Thailand, there's a cultural belief that on the 7th day after someone dies, their ghost comes back to the world of the living to visit the ones that they love. And, well, she doesn't have anybody really that she loves right now, but she comes back on that 7th day and it's absolute mayhem and absolute crazy is what she does. So the two ideas I want you to walk away with from this, and you can even see in some of these pictures that are flashing across the screen, not that one in particular, but the two main ideas are titillation.
Yeah,
like
I picked up on that.
Okay, because all their uniforms look like Halloween costumes. They are not nurse appropriate. They are not hospital appropriate. They're all high cut, form fit, low cut. They're all like, even the ghost, when there's a picture that'll flip through here, she's laying on a table. She's like black head to toe. She has some blonde hair, which is actually really cool. She's a very cool looking ghost, but she's kind of laid back on the table, kind of like in a sexy pose. It's like everything in here is just like all about sex. It's very
hypersexualized.
Yes. So, I mean, I like see like that pose in that picture. She's like, hey, come here, baby. That's kind of what you're getting out of this film. And I mean, and from everything, I think the doctor's the only one who's like fully dressed at all times. So, which is kind of interesting. But the second point I want everyone to walk away with on this is batshit crazy gore. That is what this film is about. There's not really an original story. It's, it's revenge. It's a revenge story, a ghost revenge story. So it's not really original. It's not new. But what happens to these nurses in the form of revenge is so over the top, completely insane, like buckets of blood and just weird shit. And like Michael was talking about how like, there's a lot of like, in his film, more of like, is that like a symbolism or is that a metaphor? Is this a dream? No. Everything that happens in this film is straight up what's happening. There is no reading between the lines. That's all there is to it.
No puzzle on this one. You know exactly what's going on.
Not. I think the only thing that's most confusing is the story. It bounces back as flashback to present time, which I personally like that device. I think it's very interesting. but the visuals don't really change. So the tone is still kind of dark, a little dingy, just kind of neutral, not really much special going on. So like you're thinking, is this a flashback? Why are they talking about this? And then after like a couple of them, you kind of figure it out. You're like, oh, okay, they're not spoon feeding me every single aspect of the film, which I appreciate about Asian films in particular. It's like they don't over explain anything. They're like, this is here what it is, figure it out.
That's been my problem with American films for probably since the 90s. It's like, oh, we got to explain absolutely everything. Like when they rebooted Halloween with Rob Zombie. It's like, okay, now we're going to explain why Michael Myers is evil. And it's like, no, it's just a thing. He's just evil. Let's go. Yeah. Why are we explaining this?
Yeah, I appreciate that as well. So it's like, we didn't need the, all that little extra, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. This is what we're talking about. It's like, if you can't figure it out from what's going on the screen in this movie in particular, then God help you, because there's no symbol. There's no metaphor. It's like, this is all. What I think is really interesting, though, and you'll see from some of the pictures that are floating through, each nurse has kind of her own personality. So one is like really into, staying in shape and working out, and she doesn't want to eat a lot because she wants to make sure she looks good. This other girl's obsessed with money and having really shiny, nice things. Another one's like a bulimic. You see her eating all the time, but in her private room, she's like, throwing up everything she ever ate. And it's like each one actually dies as kind of a reflection of what is going on in their personal private minds. So,
wait, were there 7 of the nurses?
There were 7 total. Like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So are they the 7 deadly sins? Because I heard gluttony in there.
Mean, that could totally be seen as gluttony, vanity, and all of the. It's mostly, I guess,
That's a much better observation, because I was thinking Spice Girls.
Actually,
most of the time, I'm thinking about that.
And this is like the second or third time I've seen this film, and I've never thought of the 7 deadly sins. That's actually really good, because the one who kind of deals who would become Wrath is the one who deals the deadly blow to the nurse. And then, the other one who's like all obsessed about food, and the other one's all, real vain, and the other one's greedy. And that's really, see, now I'm going to have to rewatch it again. Just.
I had somebody once, a local radio disc jockey once said that was his theory behind Gilligan's Island. And actually could back it up, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's there! It's really there." But yeah,
that's cool. All right.
Anyway, so I'm always, whenever I see 7 of any type of character, I'm like, okay, where's my list?
And it's like, I think. Like I was saying, the story's pretty basic, but I think even the photography or whatever is mostly generic and kind of neutral. But I think when the bad things when someone's about to get killed, there is like a little bit of a color splash, which is kind of a cool idea to let you know, like, oh, shit's about to go down. But what I think is all of the kills were so crazy and like so over the top, and one of them is flashing through the pictures here, and she was my favorite kill. And it's the one who had to do with food. So you can imagine it was her
giant mouth. Yeah,
the mouth thing. Yeah, it's like what happens is the ghost comes to these girls, and she can possess them to kill themselves. So some of them are killed that way. Some of them
handy.
What's
handy. That's a very handy way to kill people.
And I think so. And it's kind of cool because when the person is possessed, like their arm goes black, like the ghost is black. So like when the person's arm goes black, it means, the ghost has control. And then that's when they start doing...
So the ghost is actually black, because I'll tell you, these photos that I found, I noticed there was a lot of use of green and I thought
Yeah.
maybe it was just like a really dark green, and I saw a lot of purple being used. I do think just by
I think it's
looking through the photos, it seemed like they really loved color.
Yeah, I think it was the light was reflecting off of her.
Okay.
Because she had black skin, black clothes, and then long black hair, but she had streaks of like blonde on top. So
Okay.
it really stood out. And then, yeah, like when the twins are getting attacked, there's a green light. When another girl's getting attacked, it's a yellowish tone. It's like, yeah, so it's like in those particular moments, the color really does like have an impact. Whereas like in that scene, it's just, they're all just generically sitting around, not really doing anything. So, yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, the kills were fantastic. The ghost was really cool. I think the pacing, even though it was only an hour and 11 minutes, it's a good paced film. I never felt like I wanted to check my watch. I never felt like anything was dragging. Everything was just kind of, let's go.
Well, an hour 11 isn't long. That's
not long at all.
Good.
I didn't even realize it was that short until I was writing up notes for this. I was like, oh shit. So
I always worry, that's the thing that worries me about yours, Michael, is I think horror is better in shorter doses. And I certainly felt that as I was reading it, and the 38th time that one of the kids was being visited by Pennywise, and I'm like, I think I got the idea at this point. I don't need this anymore. Let's get to the end. But then you get to the end and you realize, no, that was the good part.
Whoa.
But I just, like, I always point to Twilight Zone was better when it was a 30-minute episodes. You don't see the hour episodes too often. They only show that during marathons or something. So hour 11, this is starting to really sound like one that's going to be blasting up the charts for me. I mean, you said all the key words: sexualized, gory,
titillation, and batshit crazy gore, man. And it's on Prime. It's free.
It is
Amazon
free on Prime
right
too. Oh my goodness, it's a battle royale going on Prime.
Oh yeah, battle royale. Yep. And it's funny because there is also like another plot twist at the end. The flashbacks make sense because a lot of the flashbacks have to do with the doctor himself, and you're like, why the fuck do we care? When you get to the end and the big climactic scene, you're like, oh, okay, that's why all of this was so personal and why this came down. And I think, Michael, you even said, like, in your movie there was a plot twist and then there's another quick twist at the end. That's exactly what happens in this one. And it's like, I don't even want to say what it is because it's so ridiculous, so completely crazy, and it ends suddenly. Wow. And you're like, what the fuck just happened? So this has got to be probably, as long as it's not someone coming into the movie thinking they're going to see something Shakespearean, any kind of new development of the genre. No. It's just completely
not
insane.
Elevated horror? This was not released by A24?
No, this is just your basic, like titillation, the TNA, but just a little more clothed. Because you don't see any you might see some boobs. I don't really remember, but you don't really see much of else. And then just over the top crazy gore. And I mean, it's completely insane. It's batshit. And Thailand is very good at doing this kind of film.
I was about to say, you've had a couple crazy ones in the past, and I know on your reviews online. Can we say the name of that website, or is that not kosher? I don't know.
What?
With your reviews, is it okay to
the other website?
Yeah, that you have.
Cinema Head Cheese.
Cinema Head Cheese, yes.
Yeah.
I know I've read a few of your reviews there that I said, well, I'm glad she saw it because there's no way I could sit through that. That's crazy.
I get a lot.
They do that to her on purpose, though. She is the life serial Mikey of Cinema Head Cheese.
Yes, this is very true.
Do they assign them to you, or do you choose?
Jeff will contact me and say, "Hey, we've got a screener for this. Check out the trailer. Would you like it?" And so I get a chance to look at the trailer, and I'll go, "Oh yeah, hell yeah, send that to me." And they used
So
to
she has no one to blame.
Yeah,
pretty much. They used to send me actual DVDs, like a stack of them.
right.
And there's only been like maybe 2 or 3 where I'm like, I'm not reviewing this. I can't do it. It's it's either because it's just really bad and I can't find anything to say about it, or there
Right.
was like animal killing in it, and I'm like, I can't do that. But other than that, yeah, I'll pretty much watch anything.
Well, now most of the screeners, they give you a code, and it's like, click this
Yeah,
link and
yeah. You have to do a password
type in
and
the
like
code.
go through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we want
Yeah.
an Oscar or something. That's the code to type in.
So yeah. So if you're looking for just some fun, insane, sexy gore, this is the movie you wanna watch.
Well, I think that means it's time to go to the report card and ask you for your grade of a movie I can actually pronounce, Sick Nurses.
Sick Nurses, yeah. I'm gonna give it an A. I'm only knocking off the plus because like the story isn't particularly original and the acting's not particularly great, but everything else is just so much fun.
An A, wow. That is really high marks. Fantastic. Well, that's great to hear. Now, I didn't realize what we were doing tonight with all these foreign language movies, but I decided I was going to do a foreign movie. I needed to do something foreign. So I picked the TV series Des, which comes from the UK. So it's not United States. So technically, I'm okay. All right? So don't pick on me too much. And it's
available on Prime.
I don't know that it's free on Prime, is it?
Oh.
I don't think this one's free on Prime. It's on... Where the hell did I catch it? It's not on Hulu. I can't remember where I grabbed this one from. But it is... Here's the good news right off the smash. This miniseries is only 3 hours long.
Nice.
That is good because it's very easy if you want to binge. It's nice if you want to watch it over a little bit more time and let it sink in. Is this a horror movie? I thought it was going to be. It's more of a true crime biography type of thing. But it reminds me a lot of one of my favorite true crime miniseries. So I thought, I'm going to review it anyway. And it was the only one that I've seen recently that wasn't made in the US. So there. The short version of this in IMDb is in 1983, Scottish serial killer Dennis Nilsen was arrested after the discovery of human remains that had blocked a drain near his London home. Okay. So that is literally the first 5-10 minutes that they discover a body in his drain going out from his house. There are 3 primary leads. Des, or Dennis, is the standout part. That's David Tennant, who many people know as Doctor Who. He is playing the serial killer. There were a lot of parallels between this case and the Dahmer case, the Jeffrey Dahmer case, which me living in Milwaukee, I followed very closely. So I see a lot of these parallels. One in particular is once he got caught, he was pretty cooperative with the authorities. Not completely cooperative, but pretty cooperative. Jeffrey Dahmer was very cooperative and was giving out everything. There was a little more gamesmanship that was going on with Des. Now, here's the thing about this miniseries. So it's based on this character Dennis, who's the murderer. You have Jason Watkins, who is author Brian Masters, and he is writing the book on this character Dennis. After he sends some letters to him and says, "Hey, why don't you do my biography?" And the author is very, very keen not to exploit the murders, and also because Dennis is killing men and is probably homosexual. The character of Brian Masters is a homosexual, so he doesn't want to really rev up that part of the story. Remember, this is in 1983, right at the time of AIDS and all that as well. So, so you have that type of story going on. And then you have the DCI Peter J, played by Daniel Mays. And he's the detective. And literally this guy just looks frustrated the entire time. Because despite Dennis Nilsson kind of telling them everything he's done, he was pretty good at covering his tracks, and they're not finding a lot of actual evidence, which is going to make it hard to put the guy away. And he's very frustrated about this whole thing. Now, the acting is superb. The problem I have with the movie is, first of all, it could have been a stage play, because it's all pretty much done within different interrogation rooms. You do not see... I mean, my parents could watch this thing. There was no violence on screen at all. Had they waited for the kiss in the last 5 minutes, it could have been a Hallmark movie, for Christ's sakes. It was just clean as could be. Saying that, you don't really get a good feel for how these murders actually went down. I think that's what they were going for, but I think that was a mistake. Because at no point do you really feel how dangerous this son of a bitch actually was. And he killed a lot of people. Now, I compare this miniseries to one of my favorites called To Catch a Killer. I think I might have even talked about this before on the show. To Catch a Killer was made, I want to say early 90s, mid 90s, and it had Brian Dennehy playing John Wayne Gacy. What that movie also kind of starts at the point where they already know that John Wayne Gacy is a serial killer, and it's all about how the police slowly cranked up the pressure on him and finally got him confessing and telling people about his crimes. The difference is Brian Dennehy was entirely menacing throughout. And he was menacing because he was so damn charming. He was so... You could have sat next to this guy on a bar stool at the local JC's and not even known it. Just one of these backslapping, happy type of guys. He was very politically active, actually, John Wayne Gacy. He was just one of those guys that you wanted to like. This Dennis character that David Tennant does, and I have no doubt that he studied the heck out of it because that's the type of actor he is. I think within 5 minutes of you talking to him, you'd be creeped out and get the hell out of there. So I think it's missing that scene where you can see him spinning his web and drawing somebody in, because to a certain extent, you're kind of like, this guy is bad news. Why are you still sitting there? The only reason I think that it works is because you're not menaced at all by David Tennant's portrayal. You're kind of like, well, probably most people think he's harmless. That being said, there's only really, I told you about 3 characters. There aren't many other players. They do not make any attempt to open this up to a larger world or creating this bigger area. That's why I say this could have been a stage play very, very easily. And at 3 hours, I don't know, maybe it was. I don't know. I wasn't able to find any evidence of that in the Wikipedia article and IMDb, but it wouldn't shock me at all. I do think they needed to show something so that you got the weight of the crimes. And I think what they were trying to do is, well, this is all anybody knows. This is all what was seen in the public eye. That's all we're going to present to you. But I think overall the impact is less because of that. But Des, it's available on a number of streaming. You can definitely link to it from Prime Video, like a lot of stuff. So you can check it out. So while you're in Prime Video, just hit that watch list button 3 times tonight. And you get to see all these as a triple feature. I will say, I think, Mike, was yours a B or a B plus? I think you gave a B plus, right?
A minus.
A minus. Okay. So we had an A and an A minus. Mine is definitely, there's no question, the least of them. I'm going to be going with a B. I wasn't jazzed by it, but it certainly wasn't a bad TV series. And at 3 hours, it was quite easy to get through without any incidents. I'm right now in the middle of Centennial, the 1970s miniseries.
Whoa.
That's a little bit longer. That one's just a shave longer than that. So a 3 hour series was very welcome after all of that. Okay, and that looks like that is our show for tonight. We have another program coming up next week. I'm supposed to hit buttons with this. I forgot again. Okay, first we're going to do this because I hit the wrong button. We're first going to talk about the website. The website, otherworldlyculture.com. We have a number of things out there right now for your viewing pleasure. But, come on. Okay, yeah, it doesn't want to scroll. It doesn't want to do anything. So there's a number of things out there. Go check those out. Then we also have the monkeyIsIn.com is the website for Peggy. And we just dropped the link into the chat, and it'll be in the show notes when we're done with tonight's program, and it's available on our website. And, wait a minute. Not yet. This one. There we go. And Mike's website is thedragonsroost.net. Don't fall for not putting the in front of it, because that doesn't do anything. You will need to write the, T-H-E. It's an article, but it's important, folks. So type that in, or you can use the handy link that I'm hoping is going into chat right now. And again, that will also be in the show notes. Also, coming up in only 52 days, I have to update this already, but it is not November 19th and 21st. It's in March. There will be the next HorrorRealm.com. We'll be telling you more about that, but the faces that you're seeing are people that have been announced for Horror Realm, including 3, I think, from Fright Night. Stephen Jeffries, Jonathan Stark, and William Ragsdale are coming, and you got Billy Bob there and Darcy. I think.
Billy Bob.
Did I say Billy Bob?
Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
The roll of the eyes on that one.
Wow.
That blast of cold you just felt came straight from Michigan.
That would be Joe Bob.
There's the eye roll. Joe Bob. I'm sorry. You know, I even have one of his books somewhere around, but I haven't read it yet. It was like Joe Bob at the Drive-In or something like that, and I haven't read that one yet. But anyway, they're still doing some announcements, etc. But very exciting. They just debuted their new website, so you can check that out. It is up at horrorrealmcon.com. So a lot of CO and a consonant there at the end there. Okay, and then our other shows that are going on otherworldly culture. We do have Dead on the Bases coming back this Thursday, and we will have the the preview episode talking about all the movies that we are going to be viewing in the next 9 innings of Dead on the Bases. That's the show where I have to watch stinky sports movies with lots of drug use, and Jeff gets to watch nice family films about murder and monsters and things like that. Jeff has definitely got the easier side of things. I have to watch these stinky sports movies, and he sits there and he complains about some of the finest films ever made. So I don't know what to do. But that is coming back on Thursday, and then the following Tuesday, so we have next Tuesday off, and then we're back with more Dead On Movie Reviews in 2 weeks on Tuesday, right here on twitch.tv/otherworldlyculture. Want to thank everybody, and particularly our 2 great Michigan-based panelists tonight. I'm so glad that we got more Midwest these days. And most importantly, I need to shout out to Mike's hat that has a slee stack on there. That's fantastic. Dude, can you do a slee stack call?
The sweater.
No, I didn't see the sweater.
If you could see the sweater. I don't think I can get the whole thing on camera, but this is my Evil Dead sweater.
Okay.
We've got the Necronomicon is right here. This is not going to show up on the camera.
You just disappeared.
The cabin is on the back. I've got chainsaws down the sleeves. It's an amazing piece.
Nice. Well, I know my brother and I used to be afraid of slee stacks in the basement. And we would do our slee stack calls when we were down there, which are something like this.
They were the bane of my existence in grade school.
I bet they were.
Considering how close it is to my last name. So I finally decided that I might as well just lean into it rather than try to fight it.
Well, fantastic. Hey, it's a great hat. And next time, maybe what we'll do is we'll have you put your sweater over your face, and then we can look at that instead.
People have been asking for that for so long.
Exactly. All right. So thank you, everybody, for coming out, and we wish you well to come back on future episodes of the program. And I'm looking for... There we go. So when you aim at horror, make sure you are dead on. See ya next time. Otherworldlyculture.com.